morning, Justin. It is actually genuinely the morning of February 12th, 2018. Also enjoyed this cute picture of my husband and our cat. And I'm a little actually upset that I didn't get to punish you. I'm a little upset that you actually uploaded. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of looking forward to being able to punish you, but it's fine. And not what I wanted to talk about today. Today, I wanted to talk about anxiety, which is something that, I've, dealt with and struggled with my whole life. On Wednesday, that video was actually pre-recorded. I recorded it and uploaded it on Tuesday night, scheduled it for Wednesday because I had to work on Wednesday. And before I left for work, I started to have this little bit of a tightness in my chest, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. And while I was driving to work, that tightness got worse and worse and worse and worse to the point where it felt like my chest was caving in on itself. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't think, and while all of this was happening, it made me remember something that happened back in my senior year of high school, which happened around about September, October time. It was during the swim season. I was at swim practice and I had a migraine, which again is something else that I've struggled with and dealt with my entire life. And if you hear jingles, those are Remus. But I had this migraine and I'm me. And so I didn't get out of the water, even though I had a migraine. And I tried to swim anyway, but there are some things that really don't help my migraines. They make them a hell of a lot worse. And those things are loud noises, loud sounds in general, a lot of physical touch, and bright lights. Which, in case you didn't know, are all things that happen in a pool, especially the Olympic pool, which is where I was practicing and where you've spent your whole life going to. Because of that, I ended up inducing on myself this anxiety attack that I'd never had before, where I had a migraine and all of these things were happening that didn't help at all. Bright lights, loud noises, lots of touching, water on my skin, people trying to comfort me, whatever. And I ended up getting severely overstimulated. Any sense of touch made me crawl up inside of myself, and I couldn't talk. It inebriated my speech. So I got home to Dad and Lorraine's house, and I'd showered, and I was an idiot, and I thought, well, maybe if I wear something cozy, it'll make me feel better. So I put on a sweatshirt, which didn't help. So I went upstairs and stood rigid as a tree, just like trying not to have the fabric touch my skin, trying to talk to Dad. He asked if I could tell him what was wrong, and I stood there for a solid 5 minutes trying to say the words I can't. I was stuttering so badly that I could not speak. Like, I tried to say those 2 words for a solid 5 minutes, and I'm not exaggerating. And on Wednesday, I could feel myself getting back to that place, and it was getting hard to talk, and it was getting hard to touch anything, and so I called out, which isn't something I do lightly. I don't call out of work ever. While I was working at the Y, I called out only one time is coming to mind. I'm sure there were more. Probably no more than 3 times in 2 years. So it's not something I do lightly. It's not something that I do very often, but I could not go to work and pretend to be okay and try to make small talk with people. It wasn't like, I couldn't do that. I didn't start feeling a sense of normalcy until around 12:30 that afternoon. And I actually did film a little bit on Wednesday morning after I got home, which I will insert a clip here. Good morning, Justin. It is just about 9 a.m. on Wednesday the 10th. I was supposed to work today. My shift starts in 10 minutes. And as you can see, I am on my bed. And as you saw on my video that's going up today for me, I work a half hour away. So why would I still be on my bed if I work in 10 minutes. Now, me and anxiety are not new to each other. As you know, I've struggled with anxiety my whole life. In our society, having a severe panic attack like that, where I can't breathe, I can't think, I can't speak, is still not an acceptable reason to call out of work. So instead, I had to say that I had thrown up and I had to pull over and I couldn't come in because I had norovirus. Unfortunately, that's not what actually happened, and personally, I think what actually happened is almost worse. Not quite, because norovirus really sucks, but almost. And now I'm at home and I still don't feel good. I'm still on the verge of tears, but at least I'm not at work where I have to put on a smile and try to somehow make people believe that I don't feel like shit. And as you can see, I was not doing well. I mean, that was after getting home, and I still felt absolutely horrible. So I don't feel bad about calling out at all. It's just frustrating to me. I had to call and tell them that I threw up, and that was my excuse for not going in, because I couldn't use the fact that I had an anxiety attack as my excuse. Like, that's not something that I could have told them and have them go, okay, that's fine, see you tomorrow. Basically, my point with all of this rambling is that something needs to change in our society. And I'm not saying, you know, oh, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable, I'm not going in today. I'm talking like, I had an episode, I'm feeling absolutely horrible, and I don't know if I'm going to feel better today or next week. I cannot come in. I mean, when it's to that severity, yeah, I think a mental health day is okay to take. I think that should be acceptable, because mental health is a real issue, and that is something that needs to be talked about and acceptable in workplaces. Yeah, that's my thoughts on anxiety. Anyways, I will see you on Monday.